What the hell is going on with my body now? I'm flooding. Who floods, Maisie? What's this flooding? Am I dead? It says, oh, that I think you're in perimenopause. And I'm like, great. And she says, I think you've probably been in perimenopause for a while. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Now my head automatically goes, oh, perimenopause. So what's that? Maybe a year or two? Or maybe 6 months or 6 weeks? And then menopause, ta-da! No, fucking no. 10
Yeah.
years. Hello and welcome to Season 5, Episode 3 of Menopause Whilst Black, the podcast that is committed to sharing the stories of Black people's experiences of menopause who are primarily based in the UK. My name is Karen Arthur and I am your host. I am a 61-year-old grandmother, a broadcaster, fashion creative, and lots of things in between. And I'm sure you'll find out more as you listen to episodes of this podcast. How are you? I have just returned from the wonderful country, Mexico. I was staying in Playa del Carmen. And it's hard to believe that only a few days ago I was in somewhere that was so hot. You might be able to see that I burnt my nose a little bit. If you're watching this on that there YouTube. And if you're listening to it, you'll just have to take my word for it, I'm afraid. And I've come back to England, which isn't that cold, but it feels cold because of the contrast at all. So I think I've picked up a little bit of a sniffles, and I've certainly had a little bit of a tummy bug yesterday and today. But that's enough about me, because you didn't come on here to listen to me. You came on here to listen to my next guest. I need to tell you something about this person. She had me in stitches. I mean, we spend a lot of time laughing in this episode. So forgive me anyway, well, you can forgive her too, but I will take the blame for laughing more than talking. I hope it makes you laugh, but I'm pretty sure that you're going to take away some excellent tips and hear lots more about her story that will certainly resonate with you. I will say nothing else apart from enjoy, and I will see you on the other side. Bye. Welcome to Menopause Whilst Black, Season 5 of the podcast. We are on Episode 3, and I have an epic guest for you today. Her name is Mars Lord. She is an international coach, trainer, speaker, activist, the leading voice in the Black maternal health crisis, a certified life coach. Mars predominantly coaches Black-bodied women throughout their life arc. Her specialist knowledge and expertise in Black maternal health means she coaches women pre, mid, and post-pregnancy and childbirth. Mars coaches Black women to give themselves permission to change and show up for themselves. She encourages them to take up space and root out any internalized misogynoir. Welcome, Mars.
Gosh, I kind of like the sound of me. Hi.
I like the sound of you too. What a beautiful bio.
Thank you.
What a beautiful bio. I'm going to read that bit again. Coaches Black women to give themselves permission to change and show up for themselves. So often we don't do that.
No.
Or so often we think we need something else.
Yeah.
It's lovely to read that in a bio, and so explicit. So thank you for that, and welcome.
Hi, good to be here.
So I have a series of questions I'm going to ask you.
Lovely.
You may or may not have looked at them beforehand. It really doesn't matter. We will try to stick with them, but knowing you, we probably won't. But we'll see.
Hey, I resemble that comment.
I should have said, knowing me, we probably won't. That's what I actually meant. Okay. So, Mars, tell us about yourself. Who are you outside of your titles?
Who am I outside of my titles? Well, I'm a woman who's navigating menopause, the perimenopause, sort of getting to my, and no, we got to start counting again. But that's
Oh, wow.
okay. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. Red wine helps with that. So, who am I outside? I'm a loyal friend. I am. Oh, I was coaching one of my clients the other day, and it reminded me of a phrase that me and my sisters used to say when we were younger. And I thought, yeah, that's actually who I am. It's an acronym, so hold on to your pearls, people. I'm a bitch, babe in total control of herself.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Babe in total control of herself.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for those that want a little more personal details, I'm a mother of 5 and a nonna to 1 biological and 1 co-opted. So
Mhm.
my daughter had her baby 8 days before her friend had her baby, and I love that friend, and they look like sisters. So I just decided they were both my grandbabies.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh. And what's your heritage? Where are your parents from? Where are you from?
Jamaican.
You're Jamaican.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Through and
Didn't even
through.
say.
No,
Where are you based now? How old are you?
well, I'm 56.
Okay.
I am now based in Margate in Kent. I was in London until about 6 months ago. So back in just before my birthday, I moved to Margate from London this year. And
Need to know. Why did you choose Margate? Why did you move? How long were you in London? I have questions.
I was in London my entire life. And then I
Wow.
have some friends, a really dear friend who's a life coach, Maisie Hill. She'd been trying to
Mhm.
get me to move down here for a while. And I said,
Mhm.
no, I'm not moving where there are no black people. I am not the only black in the village type. And she and Maisie is a white woman, and she said, well, and introduced me to the
Yeah.
incredible Kelly Abbott, who runs
Yeah.
the People Dem Collective. And
Right. Yes.
oh, they're just amazing. And
Yes.
Kelly said, let me introduce you to the community. And basically, the two of them spent the last few years just reminding me why I needed to move to Margate.
Love it.
And I, I was tempted by it, but I kept thinking, oh, I don't know, will I ever leave London? How could I possibly leave London? And then
Mm.
I think the pandemic did it for me. I just felt so squashed, which is really funny
Exactly.
because London is so vast, but I felt so squashed. And
Yeah.
I just thought, well, I don't know. And then I said, do you know what? I'm not going to make any decisions until the children, the youngest of my pair, go to university. And they started university last September. So they've gone into
Mhm.
year 2 this year. And I realized that when they went to university, there was nothing to keep me in London. I could be
Listen.
based anywhere because all of my children are grown and flown, so I could be based anywhere and they could come to me. And I thought, well, why don't I go and head down by the sea and be based in Margate? So I
Mm.
came down to have a look,
Mm.
instantly found the place I was going to live and loved it. And when I arrived, it was, I think so. I made the decision in the January, found somewhere to
Mm.
live, made the decision,
Mm.
moved in the April, and yeah, 10 weeks after I made the decision, I was here.
Mm.
And the weathers went up and down, but the first few weeks it was like, welcome to Margate, hence now known as Marsgate. Welcome to Marsgate. And the sun shone for like 2, 3 weeks. It was beautiful. I was living outdoors and everything. Then it went back to normal UK weather and it dipped down a bit, and that was okay. And then we had the glorious summer bit, and that was okay. And now we're moving into the winter bit, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been here 6, 7 months now, and I'm feeling really settled. And
I love.
I was asked if I'd settled in yet, and I said no, because when I arrived, I was immediately settled. There was no settling in. It was like, I'm here.
Mm. I love that. So we have a very similar journey, except I ended up in St Leonard's on Sea.
So not
Very
too
similar.
far around the coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
My geography
Down
is
around.
rubbish.
Down around. What are you doing?
I'm like looking at the map and I'm going,
Happening here.
right, I'm on that bumpy bit there. So St Leonard's,
Mars
is it down or is it across?
That's right. It's down and along.
There we go.
Oh my
My
goodness
geography is
me.
rubbish. It's really rubbish.
Come on. Anyway, so the question, who taught you about menopause?
Maisie, actually, Maisie Hill.
Oh,
Nobody, I didn't know anyone that particularly ever talked, but that's not true. I heard rumbles about menopause. I knew menopause was a thing. I knew that one day I would hit menopause, and I'm not even sure what my thoughts and ideas about it were. But it was some years ago, I was talking to Maisie, because Maisie and I have been friends for the best part of 2 decades now. And she had just written, and she was working in menstrual health.
right.
And then she was writing her book, Period Power. And so I would talk to her and I'd be like, Maisie, what the hell is going on with my body now? I'm flooding. Who floods, Maisie? What's this flooding? Am I dead? So, and then so we talked about it and she started to talk to me about the hormones that are in my body, the things that I was eating and drinking and what I wanted to do about it. And it's really funny because my periods then started to really even themselves out. So Maisie had me working that way and I had my periods working out. Then as I hit perimenopause and started grumbling more, she'd written a second book, Perimenopause Power, and talked me through that as well. But then she said the thing that fucked me off. She said, and actually I think there's a lot of truth in it. She said, you're not going to stop bleeding until that last thing, that last project that you need to birth comes out.
Wow.
I know. And I'm like, yay, but fuck off. So I'm just in the middle of that new project, that last thing that I'm not sharing yet.
Yes.
I'm just in the middle of doing that. And so here's hoping that I hit menopause.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you sound to me like you're looking forward to it.
Babe,
Or is it that you're looking
kids. I've raised 5 kids. I've had a period since I was 11.
Yeah.
I've had doctors treat me like an idiot since I was 11 over my period and how it feels. I have a doctor at the moment that doesn't seem to believe in menopause or doesn't think it's an issue. So I do have to remind them that black don't crack and I might not look 56, but I am 56. Yeah. So we're just about to have, in fact, we're not going to have a battle. I'm just going to go and tell him exactly what I want, which is a low dose HRT to sort out my sleep.
Okay.
Because my sleep is fucked.
Really?
And because we have the different stages of womanhood. So maid, mother, crone.
Yeah.
Done maid. I don't think that ended till the children left. Done maid. I've birthed my babies and I've birthed most of my projects. So I've done mother. So now I'm ready to be crone. But crone is really the wise woman. And I'm always strict. So I shaved my head for years. When my first daughter was born, oh my God, she's 29. I keep thinking she's 28. When my first daughter was born 29 years ago, she was bald as a coot. Bald.
Right, okay.
So I shaved off my hair, sympathy, but also because I wanted to. There were 2 styles that I really wanted, a bald head and locks. My mum told me if I had locks, she'd shave my head. So I shaved my head. Oh, she did. She told me when I was a teenager, when I wanted blue hair, that she would shave my head. So I shaved my head and she cussed me. Told me, 1, I looked like a man, and 2, I was bad mind to shave it so that she couldn't. Anyway. So for years, for about 14 years, I think I had a shaved head. And then I decided to grow my hair.
Mm.
That was a process, going backwards and forwards between shall I, shall I, shall I, shall I. And then I grew some locks, but I always knew in my head that locks is my last style, and I want a head full of grey locks.
I see.
Oh, I'm ready to be the wise woman.
You're ready to be wise. You're ready to look wise.
I've always been wise, but I'm ready to look wise.
Yeah. And it's always with black women in our hair, of course. There's so many, so many things to take into consideration. And it's a decision you don't take lightly. And
Indeed.
it feels like a political statement every single time we show up,
Oh, absolutely. I've had white-bodied people comment all the way through all of my hair journeys. Don't shave your head; it'll be awful. Oh, you sure you want to shave your head? Oh my God, your hair looks beautiful shaved. Oh, I like it with a little bit of hair on. Oh, that's the perfect look. Oh no, don't do anything. Oh, stop it, stop it. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Did I ask you for your opinion? Yeah, people have a lot of opinions.
A lot of opinions.
Yeah.
And so I have my locks done, and people are like, oh, why don't you try? No. This is what we're doing. And when I want to change from this, I'll change from this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking incredible.
Why, thank you.
Did your hair grow quickly then?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I'm not sure how long it is at the moment. It's down the
It
middle
looks-
of my back. It's all tucked up and beautifully done. But I have the most amazing loctician.
Oh. Are you going to share? It's a secret.
No, Jay is not a secret, but she is booked up a year in advance.
No way. And you are obviously a priority client.
Locks for Life UK.
Okay.
She is. And she's amazing. And when I moved, I was like, no, because I booked all of my appointments for the year. I'm like, oh, that reminds me, she'll be opening up her books again soon. And she called me a couple of months ago and said, I've got a last minute cancellation for Wednesday. I'm on the train. I'll see you there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good. Okay. Well, gosh, that's a 5-star review if ever I heard one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you talked about flooding. You've mentioned flooding, which I have had other conversations about flooding, and we say it like, oh, it's no biggie. But
It was a bloody biggie.
I mean, it is a biggie. My point is that we say it like, well, it's a thing that happened. But for anybody who doesn't understand what flooding is, how would you describe either your experience or what it is, or both?
The worst, not the worst, one of the most embarrassing cases of flooding I had. I'd had a period and all was good. And I went away for the weekend. And the period had ended on the Thursday. The bleed ended Wednesday, Thursday. And on Monday morning, I was stood at the airport in Madrid to fly back to London.
No.
Yes,
I don't want to hear this.
yes. And I got on the plane and I said to the air stewardess, I'm really sorry, but I'm really flooding and I need to go to the bathroom. And she said, you'll have to wait until... She had no sympathy, nothing. So I stood with blood just pouring down my legs. And then when I got... fortunately, I had a rebozo, which is like a big shawl with me. And I sort of put that around me. When I got off the plane, Luton freaking airport, no chemist or anything there. So tied this rebozo around me and had to get from Luton airport to my house in London.
Oh my goodness me.
That was embarrassing. That was
Just
the most embarrassing thing.
Just a bit.
I was meeting a client and we were having an antenatal session in a cafe. And I stood up and felt blood. Now, I travel everywhere with pads, my pads and things now, and my period knickers. And when she wasn't looking, I dropped a couple of tissues on the floor to mop up the blood and flew to the bathroom and changed myself. What else did flooding mean to me? It meant buying those pup pads, those incontinence pads that
Oh,
when you
wow.
give birth and you've got those pads to prevent blood from the bed.
That make you walk like you
Yeah,
just got off a horse.
right. I had
Yeah.
the incontinence pad spread on the couch. Wherever I was sitting, I spread a fresh one down, and I put a couple down in my bed and a towel on top. That's what flooding was like for me. It was horrible.
It
Horrible.
sounds absolutely horrendous. And what makes it worse, I suppose, is that we don't talk about periods, blood enough.
Yeah.
And so, how sad that even though you were with someone for the meeting, that you were still conscious of not wanting to draw attention to the fact that something natural was occurring to you, but it was slightly unnatural, obviously, because it
Yeah.
shouldn't have been that
Yeah.
intense. Crazy.
I know. I know.
So is that how you knew that you were in perimenopause or perimenopause? Why did I say it like that?
Yeah.
Is that how you knew? Or was it something else?
Yeah, I spoke to Maisie and she says, "Oh, that I think you're in perimenopause." And I'm like, "Great." And she says, "I think you've probably been in perimenopause for a while." I'm like, "Oh, great."
Yeah.
Now my head automatically goes, "Oh, perimenopause. So what's that? Maybe a year or two? Or maybe 6 months or 6 weeks?" And then menopause. Ta-da! No, fucking no. 10
Yeah.
years.
10
I haven't
years.
flooded for 10 years. But at the beginning of my perimenopause, I went through some flooding. Then everything calmed down. And then I've had the occasional flood since. So I haven't had a flood for a while, please, Lord. So, I just thought, yeah, how long can perimenopause last?
Yeah. How bad can it be?
Then I spoke to my mum, and my mum was about 53, I think, 52, 53, when she had the change. I cannot confirm or deny that because it is so hard getting information out of an old Jamaican woman.
It was a long time ago. Give her a break.
It wasn't even a long time ago. She just don't talk about anything. This was my birth story for almost 20 years. I went to the hospital and man. That was my birth story.
Sorry.
I know. And then last year, I got a little bit more where she said, "They told me off when I get to the hospital because I was in there 10 minutes and you was born, and they told me off because I should have come in hours earlier." So that's my birth story. I'm still waiting to hear the next bit and the next bit and maybe a little more context around that. So now, if that's my birth story,
Yeah.
she's like, "I don't know. Things went different when I was about, I don't know." He's like, "I don't know." That was the information that I got. Believe me, all of my children are going to know. And the girls. Everybody's going to know, so that if anyone or when any of them come face to face with perimenopause and menopause, they're not going to be like, "Well, what is that?"
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. Yes. And we must keep talking. We must keep chatting about it. And that's why, one of the reasons, many reasons, why this podcast exists. So you discussed no, you didn't. You discussed menopause with Maisie, with your friend.
Yeah.
Can I just say, big up Maisie, how lucky and blessed you are to have a best friend who not only, you can talk to about it, but also wrote a blinking book about period.
2 books. One about period and one about perimenopause.
Love it. Love it. So what's the perimenopause book called?
Perimenopause Power.
Lice.
Period
Of course.
power, perimenopause power. She talks about how to harness your hormones, which is why the whole thing, apart from the of the flooding, why the whole thing hasn't been too much of a surprise to me, because she's been talking to me about it and I've read her books, and because she's one of my besties, I'm able to say, "Are you sure?" Because surely this should be done now.
Yeah.
In fact,
Absolutely.
I think because Mum said she was 53, I decided that 53 would be when I had mine.
Well, often that's a correlation, but obviously it's not science. It's not an exact science, is it?
And also, She might have been 58. Who knows? Because it was a long time ago.
So you discussed your menopause with Maisie,
Mm.
and you're lots of things, but you work on your own in a sense, don't you? You
Yeah.
don't go into work with colleagues and stuff like that. So who else did you discuss menopause anybody in your family, for example?
No, do you know, now that you've asked that question, I'm trying to decide if I've even spoken about it to my
Oh,
sisters.
well, you are now.
No, I mean, if I've ever
I,
spoken
I
to
did
my
menopause,
sisters.
by the way, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, but we've probably had a sort of a passing fly through, like, oh
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
well, I'm still bleeding. But to be
Mm,
fair, if I think about it, my sisters, and we come from a generation that didn't talk about things, and some of us talk in our generation, and some of us don't.
yeah.
I'm the do, and they are more the don't.
Right, right.
So it's very interesting.
Have you got all? Are they all sisters? Are they?
Yeah,
You've just got sisters, yeah.
yeah. I've got two brothers, but yeah, my sisters, they just don't talk about it. So it's like, okay.
And are they older?
No, they're both younger than me, but
Oh,
we're
so
very close in age. It's like um, 1 year and 14 months between the next two. So we're very close in age.
coming. Maybe they'll talk about it when they start to experience
Yeah,
some
I doubt
symptoms.
it. They already think
Trying to be charitable.
they already think that I talk too much about these things. But I'm a
Business.
doula and a birth activist, and my life
Yeah.
has been vulvas,
Mm,
membranes,
yeah,
fluids,
yeah.
breasts, placentas, blood. So, I remember being in a room with my sisters and some others, and all of the pretty much all of the people in there had had children. And someone
Yeah.
called me to ask because I used to encapsulate placentas. And I said, "Oh, it's about." She said, "What's that?" I said, "Oh, it's about a placenta." She goes, "Don't talk about that here." And I looked around the room. I said, "Every person in this room has had a penis inside their vulva,
Oh, I
and
love my.
pretty much
Oh,
all of them have had a baby." So
yeah, yeah.
I think we can say the word placenta, and that's why my
That's so.
family think I talk too much because I'm like, please, penis,
But do you think?
vulva, placenta, blood, fluids, you name it, all of it.
Okay, good to know. So you felt supported by Maisie. You didn't really need to be supported by anybody else, in a
Well,
sense.
I mean, I talk to different friends, and everyone.
Mm.
The problem is, everyone wants
What's
to
the
tell you
problem,
what you
Mark?
should do. No one
Yeah,
actually wants to hear you say, "Listen, yesterday I almost stained my couch. I was flooding so heavily that I'm mopping up behind myself as I walk along the floor."
yeah,
And what you need to do is you need to get, and it's like, no, no. What I need to do, what I want to do is have someone say, "Fucking hell."
yeah, yeah,
That was all I needed because I knew the
yeah,
things to do. But even when you do the things that you're to do, it doesn't mean the symptoms don't come. You don't have the
yeah,
bleeding or the mood swings, etc.
yeah.
I've been quite fortunate. I don't flush much.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I have this little sort of shoot of heat right through my body.
Mm.
And then after an hour, it goes. It doesn't
Mm.
happen all the time. Hold on a minute, Lord, please.
Not a,
Lord,
it's
please.
not a sudden
Yeah.
flush like
And I
that per
and I
se.
know people that. Oh, actually, do you know I went to a menopause workshop years ago?
Mm.
Years ago, because I was curious. This was before I knew I was perimenopausal, and I heard stories of people that were lying on um, ice cold tiles on floors,
Yeah,
standing in front of the freezer, or opening the back door and hoping to God the neighbours don't see. And I haven't had it that badly. I
yeah.
did once have a hot flush after a glass of red wine, and I went, no, no.
Are you not having that?
We're keeping the red wine. And then I realised that I flush with Merlot, which is great because I'm not keen on Merlot. So that's
All right, okay. I love it.
so it's like, okay.
So you're fully aware of the connection and the links between drinking alcohol and hot flushes, but you're not bothered.
Look, I will give up Merlot, white. Well, no, there's a white wine I won't give up, and and other things. I've never had it with spirits actually, but I'm not giving up my Malbecs and things.
Listen, you got to live, babe.
It's
You got
like,
to live.
like this. I'm so hot.
I love it. So you've had a few hot flushes,
Yeah.
and obviously you've talked about the flooding. Have you had any other symptoms that you've thought, oh, this is interesting, or oh, this is awful?
Well, I think it's definitely played with my sleep.
Mm.
And every so often I'll go through a week or so of almost insomnia. It's not insomnia because I do get to sleep. I just have bad sleep.
Yeah.
And anything else? Apart from the bleed, the flush, the insomnia. Forgetfulness. There we go. There's a
I should have seen that one coming. You kind of laid it all out for me.
and I'm like this. Oh, fuck's sake. I got pregnant. I had pregnancy brain. I had a baby. I had baby brain.
Yeah.
And now I've got perimenopause brain.
It's like, nature's cruel joke.
Leave my brain alone.
So you mentioned your doctor earlier, and you said that they weren't, what's the word, menopause sympathetic or something like that.
I mean,
so
I should be
have
fair.
they offered you support? Yes, be fair.
I should be
They
fair
offered
because
you
I've only
support,
been
you
here
go in and say, this is what I want.
I've only been here 6 months, so to be fair.
Okay. Of course, you've got a new doctor.
Yes, but when I mentioned it, he went, "Oh, yeah." And I said, because I had to have a check, so my BP was going up, and I said, I'm not sleeping very well because of my perimenopause. Could this have something to do with it? Oh, we're just going to keep an eye on your BP. I said, yes, but I'm overtired, which means I know my BP is going to go up. So could it be? No.
Sorry, that's making me giggle.
My plan is that next time I go to see him to say, I want a low dose HRT, please.
And see what he says.
Yeah. I'm hoping what he says is, oh, we've got a menopause specialist. But I don't know because that's my London head thinking. And I don't know if I have one down in where I am in Kent. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. It's interesting. In London, I didn't have any issues with getting my prescription, but I had issues in terms of shortages. When I moved here now, when I moved to East Sussex, not only did the doctor didn't know certain things because I had some difficulty with I had some spotting, so I had an ultrasound just to check everything was okay. But when I sat in front of this poor doctor, I don't know how old she was. I mean, I know she was younger than me. She seemed very young, and she clearly didn't know what she was talking about. And I said, you know what? Can you get me someone who does know what they're talking about so that we can have a conversation? Sorted that out. But they have a clinical pharmacist and she knows everything.
Okay.
Like
when we're done, just give me her details. I'll run an Airbnb.
She's incredible. I was like I was so shocked about how much knowledge she had. So and I was quite surprised. And no shortages at all. For what I'm on. I'm on Sandrina and progesterone, and so far that's not been an issue. So I hope that when you go to your doctors and he recognising that he is in the presence of menopausal greatness, that he will do as he is told. who has a similar experience with their doctor as Mars, I would say get your research first so that when you go in and they try to dismiss you, you can say, actually, this is what I want,
Yeah.
because we spent too long assuming that doctors know everything just because they're the one behind the desk.
Yeah.
And that's, for lots of them, they don't know. And some of them put their hands up to that, but some of them don't.
No.
And so to be aware of that, that's important.
Yeah.
So so you haven't taken any medication
Not yet.
yet?
I was sort of like, I'm not going to take any medication. And then
That's interesting.
there we go. Memory again. My lovely Lorna up in Birmingham, my sister, her and I talk about it a bit more recently. And she said, I'm on a low dose. She said, I just came to the end. I just needed something. And I went, do you know what? Yeah, me too.
So you think that your sister influenced you, or it's just her saying it made you think, oh, good, I can too?
Yeah, well, Lorna is my sister friend, and and I think she's influenced me to say, oh, do you know what? Let me just take something. And I think one of the last things I heard about HRT was it's actually quite good for you in non-menopausal ways, like it reduce. Now, if I've gotten this wrong, Maisie's going to slap me upside my head when I make any podcast. But I think it reduces risks of different cancers.
Right. So I'm going to say that the research around HRT can be contradictory. So it's really important when you take HRT, it's your choice.
Yes.
For example, I started to take HRT because I was listening to people on the internet going on about how it would help with Alzheimer's and long-term, risks of certain things. And I got to a point where I was actually quite scared. All of that is slowly being debunked. Certainly, it will help with things at the moment that I'm, dealing with, and I think it's been helpful with my pre-diabetes, for example, and helping me to keep my blood sugars low and all that kind of stuff. But it's important to make sure that whatever decision you make, the reason I say that is because there's so much information out there,
and that's why she's going to put me upside my head.
No, but that's fine because our brains are full. Our brains are full, and I work in I work in this sphere. And sometimes I just want to sit under the table and wait till it all goes away, because you remember back in the day when we were told that eggs were bad for us. Remember when Coca-Cola was a health drink? Remember when smoking was good for you? Do you see what I mean?
Well, we know that Coca-Cola was originally made out of cocaine, so hey.
So you have to. We do the best that we can with what we have at the time.
Yeah, I do believe that. That's what I teach my clients as well. When I train doulas, I'm telling people, listen, you're dealing with the information that you've got now, and the information you've got now might change next week. So then you balance it up and you say, well, and you can't beat yourself up for not knowing. But it's really funny that phrase, and I don't even know where I got it from about the cancer, was the one that's just living in my head, waiting to come forward and go, do you remember this? What? Did I read that? But yeah, you're right.
Just because something works for one person it's not going to work. It might not work for the other person. Exactly. And I will also say, be very patient, because it doesn't happen for some people. One of my friends took hormone therapy, and within 2 weeks, the symptoms that she was worried about had started to go. It took me I'm going to say, the best part of 18 months to get.
I want to be like your friend.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
For a long time, I wouldn't be like your friend. That's the one I'm manifesting in my life.
Here's hoping you are. Here's hoping you are. But what else have you been doing? What you said that Maisie talked to you about hormones, and obviously you've read her 2 wonderful books. What else have you done that has helped you, do you think?
Lowering sugar.
You clearly haven't given up red wine.
Listen, I lowered my sugar intake. That'll
Well,
do. That'll do. Someone's like, yeah, but alcohol is full of sugar. I'm like, I lowered my sugar intake. I didn't say I eradicated sugar. I just lowered it. Because
and how did you do that, dear
how
Mars?
did I do that? Well, I stopped until just recently, which makes me think I'm going through another sort of hormonal switch. I just stopped buying biscuits and cakes and things. But over the last couple of weeks, I've been really, but that makes me think. Oh, but talking to you has just sparked the memory that actually it's probably not sugar; it's magnesium I'm lacking. So I've been taking my magnesium baths,
Nice.
and and I'm upping my vitamin D and my vitamin C. Just
Good girl.
yeah.
I'm very proud.
Thank
of
you, but don't tell Maisie that I
Probably
am
our
not doing all the things she suggested.
You know what? You have to do what you can. It's so funny because obviously the internet is full, and if you're, my weapon of choice is Instagram. So there's a lot of visuals, and there's a lot, depending on who you follow and how your feed is curated, there's a lot of people jumping around getting very sweaty, but there are also people who are doing very much more, like sedate and things like yoga, which is very good for you and strengthening.
Oh,
and
I
people
just
who
discovered an African yoga class, an online class.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. How is it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. She's incredible. I have done a couple of her online dance classes online on a Sunday at midday.
Yeah.
Just wonderful.
And I'm like, this.
Yeah.
Look, the sun's really coming in now, so you've got this stripe down my face. Lorna told me about her, and I did a class, and I'm like, oh, yes.
Yeah. Warrior Heart Warrior.
Yeah.
Unapologetically yoga, I think she is.
Oh,
but yeah.
fantastic. So because I'm not someone that should do yoga. I remember going to a yoga class years ago, and I can't remember the move the teacher was trying to get us to get. I think he was trying to get us to do a backward roll or something. I ended up crawling up his body. I don't know how it happened. And that was when I knew I probably
You traumatized this poor human.
that was when I knew I probably shouldn't do yoga.
I love it. Oh my god.
So I've discovered that moving by the coast means I walk more, I'm outside more, so I breathe more. People are like, you can walk in London. You can, but I just like the space to be able to. So people keep saying, well, what are you going to do in the winter in Margate? I'm like, well, I don't live on the beach. I live 5 minutes from it, but I don't live on it. But I can go for a walk along the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes people project their own fears onto you.
Yeah.
You know this. And so I got that. I got, well, you'll never be able to move back. And I'm like, yeah, that's my point. I don't mind, and I moved here in the winter to see if I could have it first. So I moved a year ago and got through the winter. But I'd been here a week and I was like, oh, I'm staying. That's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you know.
Yes.
You don't get to our age and make flibbity-gibbet decisions. You kind of know.
Yeah. Sometimes at our age, it's nice to make flibbity-gibbet decisions.
It is. I love them, but not around. But also, I let go of the need for it to work. I thought, well, if I don't like it here, I'll go somewhere else.
Yes.
Letting go of that outcome just meant it flowed. Letting go of outcomes of things and just doing them just makes things so much easier.
It's kind of exciting. It's like if I can leave London, a place that gaslights you into staying, thinking it's the safest place to be as a black-bodied person.
My goodness.
Then I could leave Margate.
Yeah.
If I decided to. I have no plans for that. But now I can go anywhere in the world because I've actually made a big move, and so I've given myself permission.
And it's brave. It's so brave. It's so brave and so important because I feel that once you do one brave thing, you want to do another brave thing. It doesn't feel brave. It's just something you're going to do anyway.
Yeah.
But once you've done one yes, it's like, oh, I'll say yes to that. Oh, why did I say yes to that?
Nice to
So,
meet
yeah,
you.
one. There are questions here. I should read them really. Do you have a routine? Do you have a routine? I wonder
So I
if you
have a
have a routine.
routine. So my
Yeah,
alarm
like a
goes off at 8 a.m. in the morning, but once the twins, who are now in university, went to senior school, I refused to start work before 10.
nice.
Um, but every so often I do. But my alarm goes off at 8, and then I make a decision: am I getting up or am I staying in bed a little longer? And then, do I have a routine apart from my morning ablutions up in the shower?
Morning
Morning
ablutions.
ablutions. Do I have a routine? I'm starting to get a routine now that I'm here.
Okay.
So I mentioned People Gem Collective. Every other Wednesday they have a ginger tea, which is basically a networking and drop-in space where you play dominoes and just chat to black people.
That sounds wicked.
And that's every other Wednesday. So that's in my diary that I do that
What
every
time?
Wednesday. That's 11 till 1 down in Margate. If you follow them on their Instagram,
I do follow them on their Instagram, actually.
actually. So that's every other week. And Mondays and Fridays are my admin days. And then I coach and I train the rest of the week.
Right.
Of an evening, something that I've been experimenting with this perimenopause nonsense is having my last meal earlier, and I've gotten it down to about 6:37 in the
Okay.
evening, which I
Oh,
never
well
thought I
done.
could. But I realised
I,
I'd succeeded when I wasn't hungry before I went to bed. I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay. And I'm failing to be in bed as
You're learning. You're
I'm
learning.
learning. Yes, I think failure is a wonderful way to grow. Um, to be in bed asleep for 11. That's my next plan.
That's good.
And that's about as
That's
far as my routine goes, really.
good.
You know,
They're big, though. Like the whole moving if you're used to eating at 9:30, which I know I have
yeah,
and still have at some point,
yeah,
moving your it's not so much moving the meal, it's moving the meal and then resisting the urge to then snack for the next 2 hours afterwards. That's my problem.
yeah,
That is
yeah. But I just did one thing, then I did the next thing. And so,
good.
now that the meal thing is working, it's time to do the bed thing.
Yeah. And you feel better for it?
I do. But how much of that is leaving London as well as anything else? The compressed stress of London that instantly dropped from my shoulders. So I think it's been a good time for me to do that because I decided I wanted to make some big changes. And this year I decided it was time to focus in on my health. I've grown the kids, they're all that. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's all about
Mm.
me. And so
Mm.
that's what I thought I'd start with.
Yeah, 100%. How do you honor yourself?
I celebrate myself every day. I find at least one thing every day to celebrate about myself. I thank myself for my decisions, good and or bad. I
Hmm.
just think decisions are decisions. And so I thank myself for making the decision because if it's a decision that hasn't gone the way I wanted, well, then that's a growth opportunity. If it's a decision that has, then it's an exciting growth opportunity.
Oh,
They're
that's
just
a
growth
great mind.
opportunities. So,
Great mind.
and I honor myself, but
Your face.
God, I can't talk to you.
Your face. Your face. I can't wait for what you're about to say.
When I hit 25,
Hmm.
I realized that there are people in my life who weren't making me happy.
Hmm.
Whenever I was around them, my spirit was being dragged down. So I culled them. I just stepped away. And then
Wow.
when I was 30, I did it again. And I went, oh, this is a 5-year thing. Come on. So I did it at 35 and 40 and 45 and 50 and 55. Last year, I culled 16 people from my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. When you say cold, obviously it wasn't physical, but how
No,
did
there were no
you?
shotguns involved.
There was no violence. How?
I just stepped back.
Hmm.
and I didn't go forward towards them. And it's funny because you know the people that aren't bringing anything into your life because they didn't
Yeah.
come looking for me.
Yeah.
They just didn't come
Yeah.
looking for me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it was a nice, simple, smooth, easy cull. When I say don't bring anything to my life, what I mean is,
They don't add value.
yeah, there was just no joy. Okay, so this was a cull ago, or two culls ago, for my 50th birthday. I invited 150 people to my birthday party, and every single one of those people, I wanted to be there. Not, oh, I ought
Yes.
to invite this person, I ought to invite that one. And and I said to them, because my sister made me give a speech, I hate giving speeches, and I said to them, oh, um, there's a reason why you're here,
Mm,
because you're special and you're important to me.
mm, mm.
That was about the extent of my speech. But that's what I want in my life. People say, why are you always so happy? Have you seen the
Yeah.
people I surround myself with? I'm
Yes.
happy because
Yes.
I'm with you, because but don't get it twisted, Karen, but in a few years, the next cull is going to. I was thinking about the culling the other day, and I thought, I think I'm reaching the age now where I might just do it every 2 years.
The culling. That sounds like your book. I love
What's
that.
that awful? No, it's probably not an awful film. It just fills me with dread. The Purge. I feel like the Purge,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm beginning to feel ready to do it every couple of years.
I think that is a wonderful thing to do. I think often we hold on to people out of duty.
Yeah,
I did a similar thing for my 60th. I'd started writing this long list of people I thought I should invite, and then I ripped it up and started again.
yeah,
And then I do like giving speeches, so I absolutely gave a speech. And similar kind of every single person who's in this room is here because I want you to be
yeah,
here. You know? And I think that there is something very powerful about surrounding yourself with the kind of energy that you give out,
yeah.
because often you can have people around you who actually they are drawn to you because of your energy, but they don't give you anything back.
Yeah, I know. And it's just
You know,
drawing from you, drawing. So I'm like, why do I just feel?
energy, energy
Yeah, why is
vampires.
it
We
that I
call them.
come home and I just there after seeing you, and it's not,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean that they're sort of happy all the time, and then because they have, as I do, heartbreaks and sadness and anxieties
Mm.
and worry, but they're just people
Mm.
that I love, and they're
Yeah.
not drawing energy from me. I'm
Yeah.
giving my
Mm.
time and giving my energy to them because I want to.
Beautiful, Mars. That's beautiful. Which tune instantly makes you want to dance?
It's called Agua by Los Ban Ban. It's a salsa tune.
Agua, Los Bam
Van
Bam.
Van,
Got it.
VAN, VAN. Los Van Van.
It's gorgeous.
And when I hear it, it's
You're
all
off.
I can do not to just start salsaing in the middle of the room. It's Cuban salsa, and they are amazing. That's a hard question because there are so many other titles that are in my mind that just, do you remember iPods, Karen?
I do back in the day.
So,
Babe, I remember Tony Walkmans. Come on.
right.
As do you.
And I was meant to
That's
have
right.
my iPod on, in my earplugs in, and I've got it on shuffle. In fact, I think you could probably only have it on shuffle, really. Anyway, and I'm walking down the road. It's all my music. I have
Mm.
loaded it into my iPod, and I will be walking down there and go, June! Like someone surprised me with my own music.
Love it.
So, but Los Van Van is the one that I'll go for today because it does. In
Good.
fact,
Good.
it's my ringtone, which is why
Is it?
my phone has to live on silent. Because you see those adverts on the telly. Oh no, sorry, not adverts on the telly. It's reels and things where people are
Yeah.
dancing to their to the T-Mobile ring tune. Yeah, I'm actually dancing to my mobile ring. Oh, shit, answer the phone, answer the phone.
Oh my God, Mars, you've never sounded more ancient than when you just went reels and things. Them things there.
My mum, actually, do you know what's funny? Someone laughed at me because I said the Facebook, right? And I said, you see, you shouldn't laugh. I said, because originally it was called the Facebook.
There you go.
So
There
thank
you
you. And the horse you rode in on.
Yes, yes.
And now go and
That's
listen
mine.
to YouTube.
I love it. Oh my gosh. We have a final question.
Oh, so soon?
Dear listener. The question I always ask, what's the one piece of advice you would give to any Black woman listening to us now?
It's a principle that I teach.
Go for it.
Queen, take up space. Because when you take up space, you create space.
There you go. I can't add to that, can I? So I'm not going to. Mars, it's been an absolute pleasure and a hoot.
And a hoot. Oh, we are old.
Let me tell you, honestly, I've been looking forward to this, and you did not disappoint.
I'm so very glad. I'm so very. See the way the sun is illuminating my glory.
Shining on you. It's beautiful. I told you we would laugh a lot. Mars is very funny, and I'm surprised that we kept on track at all, to be honest. Well, we have a lot in common. We both, left London after living there for a very long time, and we both craved the sea or moved towards the seaside, and we're both loving it. So it was nice to connect with another Black woman who had done a similar thing to myself. Listening to Mars talk about her story in such a matter-of-fact way, especially when she talked about her symptoms of flooding, it reminded me there are so many stories that we share, that we go through, and we just think, well, this is just the way it's going to be. And I never take for granted that sharing stories of pain and suffering, as well as, grief and lots of other challenging times, takes some courage. So I appreciate that Mars, although she was able to frame it in such an amusing way, certainly I appreciate that she was able to talk to us exactly about what flooding is, because this is something I didn't know was a thing. I never experienced it myself. And yet the more I speak to women, people who experience menopause, the more I hear about how debilitating it can be. So big up yourself, Mars, and thank you very, very much. I love the matter-of-fact way that she was able to talk to us about her own journey, and I loved the conversations that she had with her mother. Her birth story really made me laugh. Thank you, Mars. I'm still giggling now, actually. I wanted to clear up something we talked about HRT, and I know that Mars's friend Maisie will slap her, won't she? Metaphorically, of course, when this comes out. So hormone therapy or hormone replacement therapy does not reduce any risks of cancer. But I think that what's important to understand is that hormone replacement therapy is not for everyone. And certainly if you are someone who has had cancer, or someone who has cancer in your family, it is something that doctors may advise against. And there is a slight increase in the risk of getting breast cancer, but it is very, very low. What I will do is I will put a link in the show notes to the NHS website that tells you a little bit more about it. What I will say is that if you are thinking of taking hormone replacement therapy, it can relieve menopause symptoms such as hot flushes, night sweats, any sleep problems that are caused by menopause, any anxiety that you may be suffering, or low mood, and vaginal dryness as well. And then it does also help prevent osteoporosis, as long as you're also doing something to, weight training and stuff like that. and maintaining your muscle strength. It's common to lose muscle strength as you reach menopause. And hormone replacement can improve this. But this is your choice. These are your choices. These are the choices, individual choices of people who are experiencing menopause. And no two menopause stories are the same. So bear that in mind. But as I said, I will put a link in the show notes so that you can read about it yourself, because the key to good menopause care for yourself is to understand, do your research, and know what works for you. I am taking 10 wonderful Black women to Barbados next year, and there are places available. The Joy Retreat Barbados is the world's first menopause retreat that was created by a Black woman for Black women. It is an opportunity for me to share with you some of the things that helped me to navigate my own menopause journey, and also to make sure that I came through on the other side as my full, whole, vibrant self. It's not an advert for HRT, and it's not an advert to go through menopause in any particular way, but it's just my way of giving back and sharing what I've learned along the way in the last 9-10 years. So my primary concern is that we learn to rest and we learn to put ourselves first. The Joy Retreat Barbados has 10 5-star reviews from my cohort who came with me in May this year. And I would love to take 10 more Black women with me. We leave on the 29th of April 2024 for 1 week, and we will be staying on the east coast of Barbados. If you're interested, you can email me at thekarenarthur@mail.com, or you can visit my website. All of that information will be in the show notes. £150 deposit will secure your place. There is a 3-month payment plan in place, and that ends on the 31st of December 2023. If you have questions, hit me up on the aforementioned email. But until then, if you enjoyed this episode with Mars, do share it with one other person who you think might also enjoy it and who fancies a laugh. If you're here watching on YouTube, thank you for joining us on this new channel. I would love for anybody listening to this on another platform to hop over to YouTube, give us a like, and maybe a subscribe as well. Visually, we're a lot of fun too. Share with people you know, like, subscribe, follow on Instagram Menopause Whilst Black and Facebook Menopause Whilst Black. I think I'm going to stop rambling now. I can't think of anything else to say. Listen, wrap up warm, especially if you're in the UK or some cold climate. Look after yourself, drink your water, continue to wear your SPF, get some rest, and I will speak with you soon. Take good care. Bye.